Tonight, a close call for a Broken Hill driver after a freight train collided with his ute. And third time's a charm for Streaky Bay jockey Karen McAvoy at the Melbourne Cup.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. It was a close call for a Broken Hill driver after a freight train crashed into his ute on the outskirts of town. Amazingly, no one was hurt, but the 43-year-old driver is in a lot of trouble with local police.
It could have been a lot worse.
No one was hurt. The drivers of the train and the driver of the car, no one was hurt.
Just after 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, a Perth-bound freight train collided with this ute 1 kilometre out of town. The 43-year-old driver was attempting to cross the line onto Menindee Road when his ute conked out on the tracks. 30 minutes after the breakdown, the train approached, the operator not having enough time to avoid a collision.
I believe that the speed that it was travelling, it would normally take about 500 metres for it to stop fully.
The crash caused the delay of another train service and minor damage to the front of the locomotive. The ute was worse for wear. Further investigations into the incident revealed the car was uninsured, unregistered, and the driver was unlicensed.
I think it may have been a bit of a paddock basher, and for some reason he just decided to try and take a shortcut across the train tracks. He has been issued some fines for unlicensed, unregistered, uninsured and negligent driving.
The car was cleared around 7 o'clock, with the train moving on shortly after. Police say it's a timely reminder about the dangers of crossing tracks unsafely. It can take a fully loaded freight train up to 2 kilometres to come to a complete stop if its emergency brakes are tripped.
So we just really tell people not to go on the train tracks unless it's absolutely necessary or they're crossing on a crossing.
Patrick Ryankey, Southern Cross News.
The Australian Workers' Union says the operator of Port Pirie's lead smelter is set to cut 100 jobs at the site, while Nearstar claims that they are reviewing their long-term organisational structure.
More than $500 million was the price it cost to keep the world's largest primary lead smelter running in Port Pirie. It was a joint commitment made between the then Labor government, Jeff Brock and Nearstar to ensure job security in the mid-north town. Now the future of more than 100 workers appears in doubt, according to the Australians Workers' Union.
I've been informed by the company verbally that there will be 60 limited tenure contract people leaving site and 40 full-time jobs.
Member for Frome Jeff Brock is confident that Nearstar will work in the interest of its staff and that the layoffs will be a gradual process, which is related to the phasing out of the old plant.
They had to backfill those people that were taken out, there's about 60 or 70 of them.
Nearstar issued the following statement. Port Pirie is currently reviewing its long-term structure and profile as the ramp-up of our new plant continues. At this point in time, we are not far enough in the review process to provide details. We understand the need to communicate with our employees and to consult if changes are to occur. With national zinc prices lowering and company stock prices dropping, the unions are concerned about the smelter's future.
We have concerns with how the company is actually operating at the moment.
Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
Port Augusta police are appealing for information after a shipping container was stolen from a petrol station. The bright-coloured container was reportedly pinched last weekend from the former Mogas petrol station in Port Augusta West. Anyone with any video footage or information about the theft is urged to call Crime Stoppers. Meantime, paintings celebrating the feats of local women have been stolen from the Crystal Brook subway tunnel just hours after their official opening. The Mid-North town is now pleading for the portrait's safe return.
A display symbol of community pride, stripped bare. Portraits hand-painted by local artists torn from the walls of the Crystal Brook subway.
They'd walked through the subway and 4 of the paintings were gone. So in no time, of course, it was all over Facebook and all that sort of thing. And I have to say, the town is quite angry.
This community art installation was meant to celebrate the history of Crystal Brook's women. Unfortunately, that message has been tainted by this brazen theft. Brightening up the subway was a collaborative effort involving a number of community groups, local artists and the Crystal Brook Primary School. On Monday morning, students were shocked to find out that some of the artwork had been stolen.
It's a very big disappointment because we put a lot of time into painting and researching and planning out.
The 4 portraits were stolen just hours after they were made open to the public, devastating the community and all those involved with the project. Residents are now pleading for the portraits' safe return.
Please bring them back. It's quite distressing for a lot of people that these portraits and the amount of work that was put in.
Anyone with information about the theft are urged to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
South Australian jockey Kerrin McEvoy has ridden into Melbourne Cup history, winning the iconic race for a 3rd time. Riding champion horse Cross Counter to glory, his hometown of Streaky Bay couldn't be prouder.
It will go down as one of the greatest come-from-behind victories in Melbourne Cup history. Streaky Bay's hometown hero, Kerrin McEvoy, steering English horse Cross Counter from last to first.
Cross Counter coming at Marbella. Cross Counter's flying. The Blue Army have done it at last. Cross Counter has won the Melbourne Cup from Marbella, a Prince of Arran.
What a thrill to do it in the blue colours, win another Melbourne Cup. Well done to Charlie, well done to this little horse.
It's the 3rd Melbourne Cup win for the 38-year-old jockey. First in 2000, the 2nd in 2016 on Al Mandan, and again this year on Cross Counter. Now crowned one of Australia's greatest jockeys.
3 Melbourne Cups and been here and seen them all, and he's had a great year. He won the Everest in Sydney only a couple of weeks ago, one of the biggest races in the world, and come out and win the Melbourne Cup. It's just fantastic.
Meanwhile, over on the West Coast, the local pub was packed with celebrations.
He's done Streaky Bay wonders, it's just terrific. The town was turned upside down yesterday.
Like the 3-time Melbourne Cup winner Makybe Diva here in Port Lincoln, the Streaky Bay community will have a sculpture created in the jockey's honour.
The same guy that done Makybe Diva in Port Lincoln, Ken, he's going to do the sculpture for us. Yeah, look, it'll be something proud for Streaky Bay to have.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, RDA Whyalla and EP recognised as a climate leader. And get ready to laugh because the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is coming to the Spencer Gulf. Hello again. The New South Wales Labor Party says it will not implement water-saving measures suggested by the state government if elected. Shadow Water Minister Chris Minns labelled the Menindee Lakes water-saving project as crippling to the Darling River system.
They say no to the plan.
We think it's a dud program. It's going to destroy the Menindee Lakes water system.
The Menindee Lakes Water Saving Project aims to reduce the 420 gigalitres of water reportedly lost through evaporation in a bid to save an average of 100 gigalitres a year. It could involve a reconfigure of the Menindee Lakes and a reduction of the drought reserve. But a lower drought reserve could see no flow periods happen more often and the rivers running dry. Labor says they won't support such a plan.
Realistically, every independent scientist that's looked at it, including people who are affiliated with the Murray-Darling Basin Authority, say the plan won't work and it will simply have the effect of denying water to what has been a essential and much needed part of Broken Hill's economy and infrastructure for over 100 years.
Labor is yet to release its policy for the Menindee Lakes system but has confirmed if elected they will not consider the water savings project.
The Labor Party's not going to play ball with their plan.
The New South Wales state election will be held in March. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, townships near Broken Hill were blanketed by a wild dust storm yesterday afternoon. A major storm hit Wilcannia and surrounding communities near White Cliffs just after 5 o'clock. Wind gusts of over 100 kilometres battered the far west region, with thunder and lightning soon following. This 95-year-old shed on a station in the area didn't survive the night, and a number of homes near Packsaddle and Tababara were also left without power. The much-awaited new Audi Port Pirie store on Wandera Road officially opened today. Crowds of excited customers poured through the doors of the German supermarket chain looking for bargains to tick off their Christmas shopping list. The 6-month construction of the site has been managed by Mosop Constructions and Interiors. RDA Whyalla and EP has been recognised as a climate leader by the state government. They were a finalist in the Premier's Climate Awards, nominated for attracting and promoting low-emission industries.
Mining and agriculture have been the traditional pillars of the Eyre Peninsula's economy. Over the past 5 years, however, the local RDA has invested in going green, luring ventures in solar, wind and hydrogen projects. Years of hard work is getting noticed, with the group a finalist in this year's Premier's Climate Awards.
Tackling climate change does not necessarily have to cost money. There is economic potential.
Wind and solar projects are popping up all over the peninsula, with others in the pipeline, including one from Sanjeev Gupta. These sources of electricity are powering plans for hydrogen production at Port Lincoln, which could benefit the region's farmers and miners.
Explosives and fertilisers, we currently import them. If we can make them out of our renewable energies through the hydrogen process, then not only does that save money, it gives us security.
Mr. Scott says the group is pleased with the recognition.
It will help us get the lead on export pathways to markets across the globe.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Port Lincoln Primary School students are currently taking part in Australia's largest performing arts event called Wakakiri, where the students take to the stage in a variety of storytelling performances through dance.
So our whole school's involved, and the children actually design the stories and the dances, and they make props and they stage manage and they do curtains, so they get to do everything. It's great.
So far, the performances have been about a bird learning to fit in, a story of an Indonesian legend, and how a kid learns to live his life to the fullest. Tonight is the third and final night of the school's performances at the Nautilus Arts Centre from 7 p.m. The Melbourne International Comedy Festival is set to make its mark on the rural stage. A number of locations around the Spencer Gulf will get ready to laugh when they welcome the world-renowned festival next year.
Good food, drinks and a night full of laughs with friends, with Regional SA set to be a part of the Comedy Festival Roadshow.
It's a good social outing. We get great audience from 18-year-olds up to 80-year-olds.
The Melbourne International Comedy Festival has been travelling across Australia for 2 decades, but after a 10-year hiatus, the renowned comedy event will finally return to regional South Australia. Whyalla, Port Pirie, Corn and Broken Hill are all set to host a night of laughter in June next year.
We're really, really excited, and the comedians also get very excited about coming to new places that they haven't toured to before, seeing new audiences and bringing their brand of comedy. 5
comedians are set to line up for the 2-hour show. And although some usually play to 1,000-person venues, organisers say sometimes the smallest audiences are their favourite.
We've done shows to 80 people before and they have been the best on the tour, without a doubt.
Tickets will go on sale in December. For more information, visit comedyfestival.com.au. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us after the break. A funding boost for Port Augusta tennis players plus Fuel Watch. And after some wild rain, hail, wind and dust storms in areas, it's going to be lovely and sunny by the weekend. I'll have all the local weather details soon. Welcome back. Young tennis players in Port Augusta will soon have new equipment at their fingertips as part of a funding boost of nearly $5,000. Officials say it can't come any quicker, with the youngsters having to use old gear for the start of the season.
New equipment to support the town's growing tennis talents.
We can now get some nets, some tennis balls, more rackets and other equipment, ball carriers and all sorts of things.
The $4,800 worth of new gear will be used in the Hot Shots program, which is designed for all ages and abilities and requires lighter rackets, lower nets and smaller balls.
A competition where it introduces tennis to youngsters.
Organisers say the kids stepping out on the court were using equipment that was old and dated.
Yeah, a lot of the balls are just unserviceable really, and they just need replacing from time to time.
This latest state government grant caps off a stellar 18 months for the club, in which they also were successful in obtaining funding for new tennis lights and solar panels for the clubhouse. Fresh off their first week back into the new season, the local tennis club is encouraging any aspiring hotshots to come down and have a hit.
It's just a simple matter of really just turning up Saturday mornings here at 8:30 and putting your name down, registering with the Port Augusta Tennis Association.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Time now for Fuel Watch. Here's Pat.
Well, the first week of November has been a good one, with petrol prices taking a downward trend. And there's more good news. Analysts say motorists can expect more reductions over the next fortnight. Port Lincoln has enjoyed a 4-cent decrease, but it's Whyalla who has done the best. The Steel City has dropped by 7 cents, would you believe it? It now averages around $1.55. Port Augusta was the only one to not see any movement, still averaging about $1.66. Port Pirie joins Whyalla on $1.55, with Kadina in the same boat. Here in Broken Hill, it's still a bit pricey, but we have seen a slight decline to $1.61. Adelaide motorists should top up now. The end of the cycle is near, and the price could soon spike by 20 cents or more. To diesel now, and it's green, green, green. Port Lincoln is at $1.64, Whyalla $1.61. Port Augusta is down by a cent. Port Pirie has done 3 times better and now sits at an even $1.60. Kadina is the only one to fully break even, while here in Broken Hill we're slowly getting away from the $1.70 price range. Down in Adelaide things are good. The price there still in the high $1.50s. Now, of course, remember these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. Abby?
Thanks, Pat. And now let's check out what's happening in the weather. Well, we saw some mostly fine conditions around the Spencer Gulf today. Some areas saw the odd shower and some areas in the EP even saw hail. Port Lincoln reaching a max of 18 degrees. On the satellite, speckled cloud in the south and west with moist onshore winds are causing the odd light shower. On the waters for your Thursday, southerly shifting southwesterly winds are up to 10 knots, seas at 2 metres. A mix of sunshine and cloud for most centres tomorrow. Port Augusta sunny and 22. Whyalla heading for a top of 20 degrees. Port Lincoln cloudy and 19 the top. These fine conditions will continue for the rest of the week. Gorgeous sunny skies forecast for Saturday. Port Lincoln 22 for the weekend. Cleve warming up to 25 degrees by Sunday and Woodnah 30 the top by Sunday. Whyalla looking like gorgeous conditions for the weekend. 25 the top by Sunday. Warm and sunny in Port Augusta too, warming back up into the 30s by Sunday. And sunny skies all round this weekend. Port Pirie 25 the max on Saturday. Clare 21 the top on Saturday and 25 for Sunday. And Broken Hill warming up to 32 by the end of the weekend. And that's all from the team. Thanks for your company. We hope to see you tomorrow night.